Hi, welcome to a new video dedicated to a toy quadcopter. It's nothing else than the pocket drone, the E52. This is a TX version, so including a radio command. So this machine is nothing else than the toys grade of the Zerotech Dobby. Okay. Here I will compare in a few instances. This one is a more advanced, able to film in 4K, offering some electronic image stabilization. This one is a toy, so mimicking the general shape with some foldable arms. You have a Wi-Fi camera broadcasting the signal, and this machine can be controlled with both the Android iOS application or with the radio including in the TX version. So let's discover this bundle. Okay, here is all the contents you can find in the box. So I will start with the accessories. We have a small box including this metal wrench remover tool, 4 props, spare props, that's great, and a basic USB charging cable ending with a GST connector. Okay, a basic bag. What you will find is this 2 instruction manual. This one is dedicated for the Wi-Fi application usage. Okay, printed in color, you can find a lot of information, and more precisely in the central part, page 5, you can find all the QR code to scan and to recollect the application to download. So one for Google Play, the other one for iOS, for example. So no password for connection, okay, just apps, and by default it will connect to the machine. Another one is more dedicated for the radio control part, more or less in English and Chinese, and more precisely here you can find all the role of each button of the radio. I will explain, for instance, as well how, for example, to calibrate the machine by pushing both sticks in lower right position. Okay, so what comes with, you have this accessories is to hold smartphone, okay, up to 6 inch is possible. You will have to clip it like this through the back side, okay, and it will clip and attach your favorite smartphone like this. Notice that to feed you this transmitter you will need 4 AA batteries, and any image rechargeable model are working. No LCD display on it, okay, just a basic power lead button, 2 shoulder buttons. This one is to select one of the 3 speed mode if shortly press, and if you long press on it you will engage an emergency landing. This one is to perform 360 automatic flips, okay, and here are a lot of buttons. So the right one is very useful. For example, you have the headless mode on the top left, the headless mode here, and this one is useless because it was used to trigger the photos and videos. To trigger the video recording you will need to pass through the application. This one are for trimming, and 2 buttons here. This one is to perform an automatic takeoff, and this one an auto landing. Okay, so with the radio you don't have the possibility to turn off on the gyroscope stabilization. Okay, so you will have to fly only in altitude or stabilized flight mode. What is come a battery? It's very similar to the battery of the Zerotech Dobby. Here you can find a GST connector, so good news, you will be able to use your favorite charger instead of this basic USB charging, not providing usually overvolting the LiPo. You have a 600 milliamps powers, one cell inside, jail inside, so if you want to replace it with a more stronger one, just remove these 4 screws and insert your favorite model. So how to insert it? It's exactly like the Dobby. Take the GST connector on rear and just clips like this, and it's installed. To release it you will have to press strongly on the lateral side and to pull up. It's exactly similar to the Zerotech Dobby. Look that. If I can take, you will have to pull laterally to extract the battery, so it's very mimicking this system. Okay, the comparison is direct, but in terms of quality, if this one is a $300 model with very high quality plastic, this one is very basic, very cheap in my point of view. So the difference is huge. Okay, they can't be really compared. This one got a strong processor to perform image electronic stabilization in real time, able to shoot some 4K photo, to shoot some 1080p stabilized videos. Okay, you have some electronic sensor, camera to visual positioning, okay, some target tracking, etc. This one is really basic, no GPS, just an altimeters, barometer here to at least to stabilize in altitude more or less efficiently. It's not so bad, the machine. So we have very basic plastic, so the arms are foldable. Wow, the top plastic is a little bit matte, is not so ugly, even quite beautiful. You have a power button here, so I will plug the battery one more time. Okay, and to turn on the machine you will have to long press on it. Okay, and after a few instants it is booting. You have this front green LEDs on top and a flashing red on the rear. To turn off, just press the machine, long press one more time, and it's turned off. The arm here foldable, the coreless brush motor are installed horizontally. It means that you have a gear system to transform, to rotate the sense of rotation. Props are really a basic one. I can give you some dimension of the props. They are similar to some former toys models. There are some, I would say, 70 millimeters. Okay, they are just clips on the motor shaft hole, that's all. And on front you can find the Wi-Fi camera. So has most of the toys no wide lens installed, so it will be a pretty narrow pinhole lens. Even if it was advertised to have a larger field of view, is not the case, but at least good news, you can incline to down tilt the camera. It was common for all the toys, but now you can also up tilt the lens, the camera, so it's much a better option if you want to fly forward, to up tilt a little bit the camera. So definitively I deeply regret the non-presence of a wider lens with a wider field of view. Unfortunately the lens thread is too small to find a compatible wider lens with wider field of view. That's really a drawback. And in terms of camera, you cannot see any micro SD card. It means that the recording must be done through the Android or iOS application. So it means that the video will be shooted only in VGA resolution, so in 640 by 480. That's all. So no HD as advertised. Okay, no stabilization at all. So to make the video a little bit less choppy, they apply some PID settings for the flight controller board. No possibility to tune them, but they apply some with some very smooth movements. So you will see even in sport mode the controls are pretty smooth. Okay, so in order to stabilize as much as they can the video recording. So to run the application, so as I said, to scan the QR code, you will have after to run the application. Okay, and the application is named GI-UFO. So I will turn on the drone. Okay, and after a couple of seconds in your Wi-Fi, you should find in the few instants after booting this Wi-Fi UFO and the reference number. No password here, just connect, and after a couple of seconds it will be connected. Then you will be able to run the software. Okay, and you will have these settings, so you can press some settings here, tuning, where you have some autosave fine-tuning parameters turned on, and by default it's a right hand, so it means that the throttle is on the left, and the preview in 720p is turned off by default. I turn on, but in practice there is absolutely no difference. It's still broadcasting in a QVGA resolution, no miracle. We have only a VGA sensor, so nothing here, no possibility, for example, to explore, to replay a recorded file. That's all. We have to press and play, and we have in practice a real-time demo, okay, where you can see the latency is well, I will try to apply both. We have something in close distance around 300 milliseconds, okay, 0.3 seconds approximately, and a lot of icon on the main interface. So for example, here is to return to the former screen, so we will enter on it, and here is to take a photos. We have a trigger sound here to shoot trigger video, okay, and after a couple of seconds you will have the time lapse starting. Press again to turn off the recording. Here it's to replay, probably, yes, sorry. So we can replay video, pictures, etc. So I forgot, I was wrong. And here is to select the speed mode. So by default it's 30%, press 60%, and one more time 100%. This one is to turn on or off the barometer attitude stabilization. So by default is turned off. It means that if you want to take off, in this case, you will have to control your altitude through the stick. Okay, to like appear the sticks, you will have to press here on off, and now you have the stick. You will be able to control it. Here, as I said, since the altitude hold is off, you have the full throttle and altitude control, and to harm the machine you will have to press here the lock here, and it will release and you will be able to take off with a non-assisted altitude assisted flight mode. I won't do it here, I would do it more in external. So we have here when it's turned on the gyroscope stabilization, you can see that the throttle stick is centered. It's a flight assistant, obviously. We have here the headless mode, if I'm not wrong, turn on, okay, and here is some extra settings. We can reverse, for example, the view of the machine. This one is to split into the screen, completely useless in my point of view. We have the third one is to perform the gyros calibration if you don't want to use the transmitter. Here is to this third it was the headless mode, and this one the gyro stabilization. And finally the third one, the last one, is to draw a kind of trajectory, okay, and to, I guess, fly according to it. Okay, I will try this option outdoors. So it's a really basic interface, but you can find everything, so that's great. And as I said, if you plan to use a radio transmitter, you will need first to turn on the radio, bind the quadcopter. But if you turn on the application, you won't be able to anymore to control the machine through the application if it was pre-bound with the transmitter. Okay, you will just need to be able to turn on recording, to take a photo, stuff like this. Okay, at least they remove the possibility to control the machine with both simultaneously with the apps and the radio, and I think it's a good thing. I can give you some information about the weight, for example, of the machine. We have something pretty light. So with the battery installed, we have something around 86.2 grams, and with the 600 milliamps per hour, you can expect more than 6-7 minutes of flight time. It's quite powerful, okay, because we have a gear system. Don't be wrong if you don't see it. We have some gear hidden here, and it's not so noisy and quite efficient. So to resume, we have a very assisted machine, flying machine, more targeting beginners, with some PID setting pretty smooth, okay, and even in sport mode is not super fast. The goal is to stabilize as much as possible the machine to shoot some more or less jello-free video. You won't be miracle. Some disappointment about the camera. It's a basic VGA camera without any wide angle, and the recording must have to be done only via the applications. So it means that versus distance, the recording will be more and more laggy, and the frame rate, you will lose some frames more and more versus the distance. Okay, so now it's time to go outdoors and to test this machine. Welcome to the first demo fly of the Eachine E52, nothing the upgraded version of the E50, the first quadcopter cloning the Zero-Tech Dobby. It's toy quadcopter brush model with some altitude stabilization thanks to built-in barometers, and some PIDs smoothing all the flight to stabilize as much as possible the video recording. You have a Wi-Fi chip inside broadcasting the signal in QVGA, and you can up tilt the sensor. Unfortunately, with a narrow field of view, I will up tilt a little bit the lens to at least to offer some better horizon stabilization when I'm moving forward. So I will turn on the machine, okay, and let's try to connect to the application. So okay, I will turn on recording. Okay, and now it's connected, so now it's time to run the application, and press play to connect, and after a couple of seconds the image is here. We can see that the frame rate is already pretty bad. We have something around 10 frames per second, so it's not a good news. Versus distance, it will probably drop even more. So what you can do is either to take off with the altitude hold, okay, and you can turn on recording before, okay, and like this. So after a couple of seconds it will record. You have a time lapse appearing, so to take off you have to press the off button to make the stick appearing and press the gyroscope here. So now you have this bottom left button appearing and you can take off. So I will a little bit move the quadcopter because there is a branch around, and I will press the button and it's take off. It's relatively powerful. So look at that, the maximum speed in 30% is really slow, okay? So it don't expect a super fast machine, but the altitude hold is quite good. Oh, look at that, no big deviation. Today is completely wind free. Anyway, let's engage more the 60% rate, okay? And I will have a more faster machine. Not something completely impressive, but it's super smooth at PIDs, ready to shoot the most as possible some PIDs. The machine is moving a little bit backwards, so probably need some adjustment in terms of gyroscope. I will calibrate them, so I will go down, okay, and I press the landing button. Okay, so we stop recording here, and you have to go to the settings here and press the gyroscope stabilization, and after a couple of seconds it's down. So now I will press recording one more time, okay, and press the takeoff button. Okay, so I hope I won't have deviation. It's still the same. I will now engage more 100%. So look the top speed of the machine. So be aware, you have a lot of inertia. Okay, so let's shoot a little bit some basic videos. Ooh. The drift is huge. Okay, try to climb a bit. Okay, fly pretty well. Try to climb a bit more. Oops. I will try to not lose it in the trees. Ooh. Engage. There is a lot of drift. I want to lose altitude. Okay, so there is a... Yes, the wind comes from my back. And I've got a strong drift forward. Probably need a better calibration. So it's time to land, okay. And I will press one more time the landing button. Okay, I will stop recording. I want to be in the flat surface, but it's silent, I like. And I will try to find a more horizontal plane to calibrate one more time. Calibrated, that's great. And let's one more time press takeoff. If you want, you can disable the gyroscope altitude barometer stabilization flight mode, turn off it, okay. And then to on the machine you have to press the central lock here, and then you can control everything from the stick. So now you have the direct control of the altitude through your main stick, okay. So it's a little bit harder for beginners, but oh, not so bad. I will press recording. Yes. Ooh. Boom. I hit the trees. I hope I don't break anything. Seems to be not. I lost a prop. Yes, so I find it was here. Nothing, so I will be able to reattach it. It's not a problem. Stop recording. Okay, and reattach the prop. I was lucky to find it immediately. So the controls are not obvious, thanks we have the radio control. So maybe I will continue with the radio control right now. Okay, so to trigger the machine with the radio command, first turn on the machine, long press on it, and then turn on the radio. You should hear this beep, mean it's bound. If everything is okay, you have the green LEDs on front stay solid. Then you will have to connect after to the Wi-Fi, so press on it. Okay, so I will press recording first here. Okay, so press on the Wi-Fi, connect, then no problem, it's connected, and then you can run the application. So as I said previously, here no possibility to control, only with the radio, but you can control the camera. For example, you can trigger it, it's recording, okay, and then we will be able to record it. So you can press this button to take off, and then we have the control of the quadcopter. So the left shoulder button is the speed mode, 3 beep, I'm in full speed. Okay, yes, thanks to the transmitter, it's much better, much more easy to control, but I still have some drift, so it requires some specific, I would say, adjustment. But we can go try it higher. But an electrical line, the descent rate is not super important, so be aware of this. But the stabilization in the altitude is pretty efficient. I really like it. Look at that. And on the transmitter, well, good to play with the button, is really working well. So we can go here, try to have some, you have a lot of inertia, be aware. Look at that, how long I need to turn, so be aware. The idea is to shoot videos, the PID. So no possibility, for example, to control it actually with the Eachine TX. So this is a new protocol, okay, so unfortunately, and well, but it's flying well. Need to calibrate gyros. I will go down, I can press this button and I will go down, okay, and I can reset gyroscope like this by pressing like this. I can stop recording, okay, and then, for example, I can retake off here, so I can manually take off by pushing the bow stick like this, and I can take off, no problem. So the battery starts to be weak now, but we have a good 5 minutes, yes. The battery is weak, yes, and it's auto landing. So to disarm the machine, you have to press in, lower in air, and to arm like this, okay? So it's the end of my first video about the Eachine E52. Nice, smooth quadcopter. What I like is how stable are the PID settings, the built-in one, no possibility to change it. Silent autonomy is pretty good, more than 5 minutes, it's not bad. The control through the interface is correct, but be aware, even in sporty mode, you have a lot of inertia of it, so please it with an open space. No specific open selfie drone control with this model like the Dobby, so with inverted command. Okay, so for the camera targeting you, no possibility as far as I know to do it in the application. And what I regret is the poor Wi-Fi camera settings. Not really acceptable for 2017 machine, even if the machine costs only $36 if I'm not wrong. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like it, please submit and see you next time. Bye bye.